Good evening, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben O.C. Oko. I want to welcome you to this edition of Inside the Arena. With us today is a very distinguished Nigerian, a very distinguished engineer, a very distinguished personality. Engineer Chief Emmanuel Chuwuemeka, Iwuanyanwu, Commander Federal Republic, Officer of the Federal Republic, and member of the Federal Republic, and of course, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. Chief, you are welcome to this edition of Inside the Arena.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted and glad to be with my colleagues. Thank you. I'm glad. I also want to welcome other engineers and other spectators. Thank you.
Chief, we begin by asking you, who is Engineer Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu?
Well, you have already mentioned my name. I'm Engineer Dr. Emmanuel Chuwuemeka Iwuanyanwu. I'm a civil engineer. I'm very proud to be an engineer. I hold the following academic qualifications. I have BSc Honors in Civil Engineering from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I have a Doctor of Science in Engineering from Maryland, that's United States of America. I have also many honorary degrees. There's so many. I have an honorary Doctor of Engineering degree from Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Doctor of Science, University of Jos, Doctor of Science Engineering, University of Calabar, Doctor of Science Engineering at Edo State University, Doctor of Engineering from Imo State University, Doctor of
okay, can you tell us about your family background?
Okay, my family background really is I am born from a family. My father was a teacher when I was born. They were missionary teachers under the CMS mission. Of course, you know, CMS mission today is called Anglican. So I was raised in a Christian environment, and that influenced my behavior and my life. Of course, my parents are all dead. I'm not a young man. So then also I'm married. I'm a married person and I have children. I was married, in fact, to my university colleague at the university. We have children, but she died some years back. I remarried to a much younger person. I've been very lucky in life because God has always been with me. When I lost my first wife, I thought it was the end of my life. But I prayed God for a new wife, and God gave me my new wife, who in fact is very good. She has renewed my life. She has done a lot. And you know, she also has got a child, an adorable child. This child she has a lot of my reflexes. And because of the fact that I saw her having that feeling deep to show, I call that child Emmanuel, and in fact, everything she does. So, in general, I can tell you that I'm a very happy person. My children, I mean, they cannot be 100%, but most of them are very good. Most of my children are very good. And also, so I generally, in the family, I'm very happy. I have a daughter who is a very wonderful girl. My daughter, is a managing director of Champion Fisher-Price. She calls me every morning to know how I'm feeling. So that my children are, I'm generally very comfortable with my family. So I give thanks to God. And of course, apart from the academic qualification, I belong to many professional bodies, as you have already mentioned. I'm a fellow of.
Okay, let me ask you now. Let me ask you.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question, Chief.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question, Chief.
Yes.
Many Nigerians didn't know anything about Chief Iwuanyanwu until 1985, when you took over the former Spartans of Owerri and transformed it into a continental giant called Iwuanyanwu National, also known as the Nazi millionaires. What took you to sports?
Yes. Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, it went on. Go ahead. Yes.
Did you hear the question? Did you hear my question?
I didn't get the question. No, I didn't get.
Okay, I said many Nigerians didn't know anything about Chief Iwuanyanwu until 1985, when you took over the former Spartans of Owerri and transformed it into a continental giant, Iwuanyanwu National, also known as the Nazi millionaires. What took you to sports?
Well, the truth about it is that, see, I'm an engineer, and when I graduated, frankly speaking, my vision in life was to be a professor, because in the university, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
I can hear you. Go on, sir.
Okay, my vision was to be a professor in university. I was actually on top of my class, but when I had a very strange experience at my degree. I didn't actually do as well as I thought I will. I still had an honors degree, so I decided to go to engineering practice. You know, I tell people to believe in destiny. God didn't want me to go academic. God wanted me to go to practice. I started practicing engineering. And I found out in that practice that it was my destiny. I was involved in bridge building in Lagos area. And that building, I was then a staff of a company. I was employed by a company. And then I worked under some old engineers. I was a people engineer. But I was able, because of circumstances, then we didn't get a ocean badge that we would carry, we used to drive the pile. We have rented one from a British company, but that company failed to deliver. I have worked in the university. I studied under world authorities in hydraulics, like Professor Zane, Professor Rosalind Digita, and many of the top people from the University of Dant. So I knew a lot. So I designed an ocean badge with empty engineering drawings that would carry both the pile driver and also the dynamic loads. And that was the first engineering feat I performed. And it was very highly accepted and even acknowledged by engineers at the time. After that, I was then sent as a young engineer to take over the building of Enugu Airport. Nigerian government had wanted to rebuild all the airports in Nigeria. Enugu Airport was the first one. So I was the person said I built the Enugu Airport. So I have this on my record, to the glory of God, that I was the first Nigerian engineer to take full responsibility to be in charge of building the Enugu Airport. And it was while we were building that airport that we now worked on asphalting concrete. The asphalting concrete we use today is a flexible pavement. Originally, we were using mainly Macadam, British standard. But the asphalting concrete, you know, is ASHO. It's ASHO standard. I was one of those who worked on it. And the federal government eventually accepted it and approved it for the Enugu, for the Enugu airport. Enugu airport was in fact the first airport that was built with asphalt concrete in Nigeria. And so it was a flexible pavement, so I have the credit to be part of it. And in fact, after all this, I was recommended for national honor of a member of Federal Republic. So you will see that my commitment to engineering has been very useful, very fruitful to me. After Enugu Airport, I realized that there were a lot of opportunities and business in engineering because there was a boom in construction soon after the war. So I decided to go into construction, and I had a company, Cardell and Ellick Nigeria Limited. That was a company whose equity I owned. Then I started, and it did very well. Then from there, I expanded to other, I made money, expanded to other areas. I have businesses in New York, I have businesses in UK, but I have some hotels in London. I have real estate in London, in America. So my business expanded very well. And then in fact, I acquired 2 private jets because I had to travel to London and America for regular board meeting. So I also diversified to banking, to insurance, to many things. And at a point, when Imo Airport was completed, Imo Airport, in fact, is an airport which I championed, I pioneered, and I'm happy that I was the person who, at the end of the day, made it possible to make it realized. Because when it was completed, it was built, by the way, by the community. It's the first airport built by the community in Nigeria. Imo Airport was built by the present Imo State, Abia State, and part of Boni State. But when states were created and Abia was captured, it stopped. In fact, I had to transfer $2 million from my New York business to Nigeria to assist them to continue with the airport. And that money, actually, it was the Warrior Zone that promised to continue with the job, but they didn't have money. I gave it to Warrior Zone. I'm from a Warrior Zone indeed, as a loan. But I found later on they have no capacity to pay back. So I told them it's my donation, it's part of my donation. I donated to the airport project. So it's a long program. I was quite busy, and of course, you mentioned the football. The truth is that Imo State had a football club, they couldn't fund it. They didn't do much about it. So I took it up because I love football. As a young man, I love football, but I didn't actually play to the point. If it is today, in our days, people were regarded stupid if they spent more time playing football as well. So I had the skill. I played in elementary school, I played in secondary school. In university too, I played, but I wasn't in the university team. So I couldn't make the university team. So I wasn't an expert in that, but I loved the game. So I decided to take over the club to revitalize it. I sent them to Brazil. I did a lot. I even bought, I had 2 private jets. I was taking them with one of my jets to fly to football matches. I think that's why they call them Naze Millionaire or Billionaire, because for the first time, a team was being ferried by air to their football matches. And unfortunately for me, they crashed in one of their returning from Tunisia.
Before we come to the crash, I have this question to ask still on Iwuanyanwu National. Under your management of Iwuanyanwu National from 1985 to 2006, they won 5 league trophies in 1987, 1988, 1989, 90, and 1993. One FA Cup, what was known then as the Challenge Cup in 1988. And also aging big clubs like Leventis United, IRCC Shooting Star, Rangers International of Enugu, Abiola Bebs, and so on. And also they got to the finals of the African Cup of Champions Club, which today we call the CAF Champions League in 1988.
Yes.
But since 7th February 2006, when the Imo State government reacquired the ownership of the club, they have not won any league, but have managed to win 2 FA Cups. What was the secret behind your successful management of the club? What was the secret?
You know, any business you run, you know, success of a business is human beings. You know, the biggest asset in any business, whether it's private or public, is human beings. Human resource, once you handle them well, I make sure I recruited the best. I make sure I paid them very well. I make sure I got the best coach possible. At that time, I was compelled to hire some foreign coaches. I have foreign coaches because I couldn't lay hands on Nigerian coaches who could face the challenge. And you know, it costs a lot of money to keep those foreign coaches here. So I think the major thing is having the right people to coach the team, paying the right remuneration. Today I hear at times they are being owed their salaries. They are being owed their match bonuses. In my time, they were paid promptly. They had their match bonuses before every match. They had a promise to them, and those promises were fulfilled. So I think it's a question of we have the human beings here. If you watch, most of our people go out overseas and do well. And I'm glad that today, most of the top Nigerian teams at the time were raised by me. And in 1994, Nigeria, the first time Nigeria took part in a World Cup, 1994. That year, in fact, I was the chairman of Sports Development Fund. I was chairman of the committee set up by the federal government to raise the fund for the first participation in World Cup. And also that year we qualified to play the finals of African Cup of Nations in Tunisia, and we won that year. We have it to our glory, and I'm proud that year when I was chairman of the fundraising committee, we won the Cup of Nations in Tunisia, and that was had the best performance we have had in World Cup so far. We have never beaten the World Cup we have in America. That was in America. I watched all the matches because most of the players, about over 6 of the players, were from the Iwuanyanwu National. Because most of my players, the Iwuanyanwu National was so good at a point. Even there was a time Nigeria had an international match to play in Russia. The national team was not ready. And then the Nigerian NFL decided to send the Iwuanyanwu National to bear the Nigerian flags. The Iwuanyanwu National went to Russia as a national team, and they did very well. They did very well in Russia that particular year. So I'm very proud of that team and everything we did there. We have not been doing so well, but I think we can do better because I believe that sports is a very important way to make Nigeria proud all over everywhere. So I feel sad that the club, even the time I left the club, those periods when they won those cups, I was still having time to support them. But you know, now I'm old. Everything that has a beginning has an ending. I'm now around 80 years. And you know, I don't have the same capacity, the same energy I had when I was young. I will only appeal to younger people to emulate us and do some of the things we are doing. They cannot expect the government to do everything alone. Government cannot do it alone. Even the Sports Development Fund actually was when I became the chairman, we decided now to raise other clubs. We realized that Nigeria was depending mainly on track events. That's 100 years, 400 years, 200, 100 meters, 200 meters, all those track events. They didn't bother about all these things like wrestling, like netball, handball, all those. So, and they were owing they were owing the international bodies. The first thing I did as a chairman of National Sports Development Fund was to release money to all these bodies to clear their debt they are owing. And after clearing, they were all once again registered. So I felt very happy. Then today, most of those clubs are doing well. Like this, the wrestling is one of them, and weightlifting is one of the clubs we supported. And you can see in the recent Olympic in Japan, we didn't win any gold or silver or bronze in any of those events, but in weightlifting and wrestling and all those ones that we didn't actually carry. So I think we did very well in those days.
Okay, let me add this. When you took over the club, you have mentioned it here. You embarked on a 3-week tour to Brazil and traveled to most of the Iwuanyanwu National traveled for most of their continental engagements on chartered flights, which you have mentioned. And the question is, can you compare the heartland of today with the Iwuanyanwu National of those days that paraded players like Tonsin Olia, Benedict Iroha, of course, Uche Okechukwu? We have players like Andrew Uwe, players like Mike Obiuku, we have players like Friday Ebo, we have players like Edward Ansah, all the way from Ghana. The one that Ernest Okonkwo we always describe as Ansah has the answer to any shot or any ball you throw to him. And of course, we have Tony Mwigwe, and of course, a baby you nurtured from his youthfulness to become Nigeria's captain, talking about the legendary Kanu Nwankwo and many others. Can you compare the Iwuanyanwu National of which you managed and the heartland of today?
Now, let me tell you, the point is this, see, when I took over the club, it became clear to me that in sports, the active life of a sportsman is not too long. And so we established what we call Iwuanyanwu Commerce. Unknown to many people, we had 2 clubs, the junior team, Iwuanyanwu Commerce, and the senior team. Most of the people, like Kanu Nwankwo, the later younger ones that took over were people who graduated from Iwuanyanwu Commerce. Kanu Nwankwo was a young boy who was picking ball in the field. And we saw he has the reflexes, he has a capacity. So we did that. So there is need for vision. Like I believe that people, it's not enough every year you go and buy players and bring them. You have to raise players. What I think people should do, not only the Iwuanyanwu, not only the Atlant, in every state, there must be a junior team. And they should organize a competition, even if within the state or within the geopolitical zone, for such junior teams. It is from those teams you will get experts who will take over from the other players when they get old. You know, a player can get an injury. When a player gets injury, he may be healed and he comes to play. It all depends. Once an injury is already there, within after something, it gets up again. So the lifespan of a player is not much. And today, it's no more like it was in those days. It has become a very profitable business. So I think, frankly speaking, what my advice is that there must be a means of raising a junior team, not waiting, not even leaving it to schools only. I think every state or every zone should have a football competition. They should have a junior club that should be competing. When they compete, very intelligent coaches and football administrators who will be going. They will see the reflexes, the performance of the young ones. From there, they can select people who can become the future leaders. I believe if we do that, Nigeria will dominate the world in football, because Nigerians are very capable, and if they dominate the world in football. And I will tell you one thing that worries me. We have these people they call Aljimaris in the north. Those people, Aljimaris, okay, I've seen most of them, they're very strong. Some of the Aljimaris people who go about, they are very strong, or even these people who are cattle rearers. They walk all the way from Maiduguri to Enugu and so on. Such people, if you get them and train them on long distance running, they will do very well. We could get this Al-Marine, build Al-Marine sports school. Al-Maji. I hope you know what I'm talking.
Yes, sir.
They can build a sports school in Kano or somewhere, a sports school for them. Put them there, let them be trained on how to run, how to play. You will see people, footballers, you see sportsmen coming up, because some of them are very capable, they're very strong. So instead of leaving them waste, and today, most of them are probably part of the problem we're having with this insecurity. So I think really that apart from building schools for them, they could build sports school. If I were still the chairman of Sports Development Fund, I'm old, I resigned, I will arrange and build a sports school somewhere in Kano, where we will now recruit all these Aljimaris, all these Almajis, all these Almajis, we will call them. We will get them, start training them on various sports. I'm sure if you put people there, they will identify the talents. And because I don't want us to see our children anywhere being a waste. So I believe there's a lot we can do. Every state should try to see how to get them when they are young. And that's what I did in Iwuanyanwu National.
Okay. All right. Before we go to the next question, let me also inform our viewers that today, at the end of the program, we are going to be having, you see this beautiful laptop I have in my hand, a brand new laptop, courtesy of Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu. We are going to have a winner who is going to be going home or smiling home with this laptop today. Just like the last edition, we also had Engineer Kunle Adebajo as the winner, and the first edition we had Engineer TSG Wudil as the winner. So we'll continue. We'll come back to Chief. Chief, on the 18th of September 1994, the country was greeted with the tragic news of the crash of an Oriental airline in Tamaracet, Algeria. The airline was conveying the players and management of Iwuanyanwu National from Tunisia to Nigeria after their match with Esperance. 2 players lost their lives in that incident. That's goalkeeper Uche Ikogu and the defender Amiola Omale. And also the captain, the captain also, and a flight attendant also lost their lives. Can you give us some insight into that incident? And was that a setback to you?
It was a major source of sadness. I felt very sad. In my life, it's a day I will always remember. But I give thanks to God for everything. Because in life, things don't go well all the time. That day I lost 2 of my captains. The captain and the co-captain. I lost one of the beautiful attendants, that's the hostess. And I've lost 2 of my players as well. So it's a very sad thing. These are people, my staff. and they're all very close to me. My staff, they're my children, they're my brothers, they're my sisters, they're my friends. So I felt the loss as a loss. I had to visit, attended all the funerals. So it pained me so much. I think the pilots made some mistakes because, you see, the weather was very bad. They investigated and they found out it was an error because the weather was very bad. And then they were told, they were warned against it. So then it was terrible. So when they wanted to land, they lost control. And I think, most of some of these airports may not have proper landing facilities. For me, it wasn't any serious financial loss because the aircraft was insured with Lloyd's. Lloyd's insurance is very capable. They repaid for it almost within a month because they carried out, Lloyd's is a very good insurance company. They did it first time, they carried it out, and in fact, they paid compensation for even all those who died. So for me, it wasn't financial loss as such, but the loss of people who are very close to me. And for quite a long time, I felt it. And even now, I still remember them. I look, as we're talking now, I see the faces of all these my staff laughing and smiling at me because I pray that God has given them a good place in paradise. So it was a very painful experience, but it didn't bother me much. I continued. It didn't deter me from continuing because I knew that what I was doing was rendering services for the country, Nigeria, creating opportunity for the youth, because the youth actually in this country has a lot of love for me, they respect me. In fact, all the youth of the nation are their patrons or grand patrons. So I believe I have a duty for the youth. Even at 80 now, I believe still that I should have a role to play in creating a good environment for the youth. That's why when we get all these insecurities, I feel very sad because I want
okay. Let me ask you another question. When we started this program, you gave us some insight into your engineering practice in Nigeria, some of the major feats you have accomplished as an engineer, and you mentioned the Enugu airport and the other projects you have supervised. And I want to ask you, do you have any regrets practicing engineering in Nigeria? Or can you say, and also can you say you are a fulfilled engineer?
Frankly speaking, I don't have any regrets at all, but I am worried today. And in fact, I hope I will try to attend the National Convention of the Resident Engineers this year, I think, which takes place, because I have a lot of concern. I have a lot of worries today about the engineering profession. And I'm probably one of the oldest fellows of the professional life. Most of my colleagues are not here now, so I have a duty to speak out on when things are going wrong. I believe that, see, the younger engineers today are not having the same opportunities we had. We were respected, we were given respect, and the dignity of the profession was acknowledged everywhere. In our days, people knew that to be an engineer, you're a brilliant person. You must have gone through secondary school with distinction in mathematics, physics, and chemistry. You must have gone through higher school with pure mathematics, economics, and chemistry. You have gone through university, a very strenuous course, to qualify to be an engineer. And then we were respected in our days. Today, I feel very sad to the point of tears when I see an engineer desperately looking for any type of manual job. That is very painful. I don't feel happy about it. Our days were much better. Our days, there was hardly any question of unemployment for an engineer. And there should be no question of unemployment for an engineer in Nigeria. A country with all the potentials, with all the problems, but it's just a question of government organizing itself to get this properly structured. You remember, I contested the election for the presidency of this country 3 times. I didn't win, even though I continued in politics. In fact, it's only recently, it's only a few months ago, I retired from politics. I was still in active politics. I was a leader of my party. But you see, the truth about it is that, see, the engineering profession has a lot to do for this country. Now, for example, I will give you an example. We have this problem of the building crash in Engr, which everybody is talking about. Now, you see, the point that come up, in our time, there is a law that certain jobs must be supervised by engineers. But today, anybody signs something, the people may even forge the signature of engineer. The people who approve it don't even bother to find out, to confirm that the signature is an engineer. An engineer should have been involved. You see, definitely that problem must be a foundation problem. Because see, I did a lot of work in foundation. When there is environmental problem, a foundation is the biggest target. You know, this world climatic change is not a joke, it's a serious matter, and I'm addressing it seriously in many areas. We should not take it very lightly. And I think the current chairman, the president of Fnse and the president of Environmental Area must meet and see what to do. You see, this building crash in the Iwuanyanwu area, and then it's quite, I get worried that there could be foundation problem. Because you see, when the world, things have changed in the world, you see the nature of rain, the runoff is different now. There's a lot of changes. And you know, most of the land in Iwuanyanwu, Victoria land, Lekki, they're all reclaimed. When soil is reclaimed, there are a lot of problems with this environmental, this climatic change, and with the level of water. I think the water level is too high. And then it means that, you see, the design criteria must be revisited. People who design the foundation must revisit it to look at it. So I would like the Nigerian Institute of Engineers, the Korean, and then the institution of environmental engineers to meet and call structural engineers too, so that they can look at the structural criteria, look at the type of foundation, look at how it is, because we must adjust to the changing climatic situation. And so I believe, yes, I believe that if there was an engineer, a serious engineer working in that project, no building can collapse without giving some sign. There must have been structural sign, because I believe that this thing is a failure of the foundation. It could also be failure of poor supervision. It could be a combination of both. If there is any something, there will be cracks. There will be movement. You know, there will be movement in the structure. When there is a movement of a big structure, it doesn't collapse the same day. But an engineer can see. If you're an engineer who loves your project, you have to go around it every day. So I think really that, see, it's important let our people, the developers and so on, know that the engineers are people who are normally held responsible. They must not be allowed to go about and do things on their own. Yeah, everybody is a developer. Somebody who doesn't understand anything about engineering is a developer. They go about into foundation, they go about into seriously. I think we have to look at it very seriously. And there is one thing I want us to take up seriously. When this question of why is it that Ministry of Work, the minister, the political head of that ministry, is not an engineer. We have enough engineers now in politics. So I think really government has always, there was a time in this country when lawyers and other people were made ministers for health. There was a time when they were made, people are made ministers in peace. Attorney General is a political position, but they have found it necessary that an Attorney General must be a lawyer. They have found it necessary that the Minister for Health must be a medical doctor. Now, nobody has found it yet. The budget, you talk of budget of trillions. This budget of Nigeria trillions, if you check, over 40% of that money will be spent on areas where engineers will be held accountable. They will be spent in power, spent in roads, spent in transport, and so on. If you check those budgets, engineers are going to be held accountable. Why is it that the minister should not be given to a person who understands this? If you give it to a person who is not an engineer, he has to listen to an engineer to get the views, and he has to be educated. I mean, it's not good for Nigeria. Nigeria is joking with this. Okay, take for example, we talk of failures. Failure is not only when building collapse. The failure in highway is the worst for Nigeria. If you know the billions of naira Nigeria is losing in highway failures, highways are failing in Nigeria every time. I am one of those who brought forth this for the complete. We had a mixed design. We had a mixed design for different practice, traffic loads. And there are so many tests that must be done. In those days, for the sub-base, for the base, for the subgrade, we have various tests. For the 40 complete, we have even everything, including temperature. Today, it's not even done. Even the current test, which people do to set up and find density and so on, it's not done. I have seen where people are laying asphalt on the road without any test, without it, they just lay it, they spread it, and they roll it. These things, any good asphaltic concrete should last for over 20 years before you can talk of maintenance, even when the traffic is heavy. But here in this country, you build a road today, the thing fails the next day, because there's no supervision. So I think really that the Nigerian Society of Engineers president, the current president, and then other bodies should meet, take a decision. We have a duty to federal government to talk about this, because the money that is lost is taxpayers' money. We are Nigerians, and as patriotic citizens of this country, we will fail in our duty. If we see our money being thrown away, people don't bother about it, because unlike a building, when building fails, people die. But when road fails, people die, maybe accident and so on. But the money we are losing in road highway failures is more than those we are losing in road failures. You see, so I think they have to do something. Now, there was something that was done in Tafawa Balewa's time. Then I was an engineer. I was a student in the university, an engineer student in the university. This present Niger Bridge was built in the 60s. They made sure that engineering students were set. That time, I was an engineer student in the University of Nigeria. I was part of the building of this present Niger Bridge. We were working on it. I want to know, this one they're building now, how many Nigerian student engineers, how many young engineers are there? It will only cost the government some money. Government could even put them for them to gain experience. These contractors come, they finish the job, they walk away. And when we have the same job, we'll go back to them and we'll take it at their price. We are successful, myself, because I took part. The policy made by government of Tafawa Balewa and Azikiwe in those days gave us the opportunity to participate in this sense. That is why we could set up our own businesses. If Nigerian engineers like this Onitsha Bridge If they put certain bright engineers there who supervise, who join in the construction, take part, they will be one day be able to set up their own companies, even when these foreigners are gone. But today, the system is you bring a job, you give it a foreigner, he finishes it, he goes away. When you have another one, you go to him, and you have to do it at his price. I think really this is going to be, we need to still prepare a proper environment for the younger engineers.
All right. Hello, sir.
I don't think I heard me. Are you hearing? What did you? I think you cut off. Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you, sir. Please, sir, could you please adjust your camera a little?
Where did you stop here?
No, we had you up to your last statement. Okay, all right. Okay, we can see your face. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So that is the point. So I think I have given you my worries and my concern. My concern is that we are not doing enough to respect the integrity of the profession. If somebody has spent time to study engineering, we must be concerned about the study. And then the current and the neglect of engineers will not follow our hands. We must go to the universities to make sure that they offer proper university education, so that the thing we have to have sort of control of the products, because the products will come to work, and if they fail, it will be a failure of the profession. So I think we need to do more. A pedagogic duty for Nigeria, we are going to be involved in the education. We are going to be involved. Federal government should never commit federal money, these trillions of naira, without making sure that engineers are there to ensure that our money is not a waste, that the jobs are properly supervised. Asphalt concrete in particular, very costly. Asphalt is very costly, and if it fails in a short time, it's a colossal loss for Nigeria. Engineers should not allow that to happen. We must resolve, when we go to the convention this year, we must take up this. I may try to come to convention, because this matter about the role of engineers must be re-emphasized. I know that our forebears fought a lot of battle, even to get us to where we are. We need to fight now to create a good environment for the younger engineers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you very much for it. And we take it further. You know, as I said when I was starting, your life cuts across different areas of the Nigerian economy. You were also involved in a lot of other things. You were once a founding chairman. You were also once a chairman of Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, and also founding chairman of the Raw Material Research and Development, Council. Can you give us some insight about your stay in these federal government agencies?
Yes, thank you very much. I thank God for my services to Nigeria. I'm glad I'm the founding chairman of Raw Material Research Development Council of Nigeria. That job was given to me by Babangida. He read about me and he was pleased, and he called me, and I did the job. And I founded the Raw Material Research Development Council. That time, Dr. Remi Aribisala was my general, a very sound and very hardworking, resourceful lady. So it was a very successful job. I finished it, and Nigeria was pleased. After that, in fact, I was, I had already had a national honor when I was a young engineer. After some of the work I did as a young engineer, then after the work at Raw Material Development, I was honored again with this thing has gone off. Are you with me? It's gone off.
We can hear you. We can hear you, sir. Go on.
Okay. So after that, they gave me another national honor of Officer Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you know, I was also, federal government appointed me chairman of FEMA. I transformed FEMA. FEMA you see today I transformed FEMA you see today. When I took over FEMA, FEMA was in a rented house. FEMA was more or less an appendix of the Ministry of Works, but it was under the minister. But see, Obasanjo was the president that time. Obasanjo is a personal friend. And then when I saw it, I told him clearly that I had to have a free hand to run the place. And Obasanjo gave me free hand, absolutely. So I was able now to, the present headquarters of the place was established by me. I transferred to this place. Everything you see in FEMA now was actually established by me. I also established, I decided to establish a maintenance shop, a maintenance department in every state of Nigeria. So every state of Nigeria today have a maintenance unit. I got asphalt plants. I brought some experts from India who went to all the states and taught them how to operate the asphalt plants, how to work with them. So today, every state in Nigeria has got a maintenance team. They have got an asphalt plant. I also lacked staff because most of the staff were staff of Ministry of Works. So I decided that I had to employ. I employed over 300 engineers. Frankly speaking, I employed them, and that time they said there was embargo on employment. But the president, I told them then I couldn't operate without staff. So I was given the opportunity. I had full cooperation from the president, I must tell you, and the minister then, all of them cooperated with me. So I was able to do a job considered to be very successful. You see, my tenure was served out, and I'm happy that by the time I left, I got a complete office. I established the present office. I have got asphalt offices in all the states, and I had a very firm road maintenance organization in every state of Nigeria. And in fact, even here in Abuja, we have one, but Abuja has even more equipment. So I think I did it, and I'm quite happy. I am grateful to all the engineers. The managing director was a very good engineer. I was lucky. I had very good people who worked with me. So everything went on very well.
Chief.
I feel grateful to God. After that, I was
Chief,
I was
you mentioned that
Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. That time I tried my best and got a lot of investments. Record shows many investments came into Nigeria during my time as chairman. Yes, go ahead.
Now, when you were talking about FEMA, you said the then president brought you to FEMA, and many have said that you were very close to the military, especially or particularly in General Babangida and General Abacha. Can you tell us how close you were to these two generals, also to the military, in quote?
Now, the truth about it is that General Babangida was our president, and he liked me as a person. He liked me. General Babangida has, he's very intellectual, General Babangida. General Babangida is very intellectual. Even when you talk with him, he gets a paper is recorded. He's one man I know. He's very intellectual, and he's very thorough. And you know, Babangida became a president at a time when things were very difficult. Oil was selling at about $9 per barrel. That will show you the type of problem he had. And you know, he went through the process of structural adjustment. That process is a thing that they have the people who have first the benefit were later. You see, what Babangida started resulted into the remission of all our debts, which happened in time of Obasanjo. You know, if there was a time when all the debts owed by Nigeria was actually written off. This process started in Babangida's time. Many Nigerians don't realize it, that Babangida started the structural adjustments. So Babangida, as far as his governance is concerned, that in economy, I think he likes people, he liked me, and I'm quite happy about him. And then Abacha was also a friend. I have a friend. Abacha was friendly with me. And if you recollect, see, Abacha had problem when he was the president. At that time, the Commonwealth was to expel Nigeria from Commonwealth. I am the person who led a business team to United Kingdom. I led the team to United Kingdom. I met people, then met people there who helped us. In fact, in that occasion, Museveni, the president of Uganda, who is my friend, also helped us. And of course, Big Britain and so on. And that my delegation I led to UK stopped Commonwealth from expelling us, because see, they wanted to expel us. My argument to the Commonwealth was that if they expel us, these people who will suffer are the poor people. So I led the delegation, and then I'm grateful to Emeka Iwuanyanwu. Emeka Iwuanyanwu was secretary then. Emeka Iwuanyanwu was the person who also helped us to get in touch with all those people. So I'm the person who led the delegation under Abacha. So Abacha also, he wanted me to serve in his cabinet. He offered me to serve because he says he's appointing experienced people. If you remember, many old politicians like Jack Conde, like Adamu Chiroma, many old politicians were appointed ministers during his time. But I told him he wanted me to join. I said no, I didn't want, because my business was busy, that I had too much to do. But however, he was kind enough to enable me appoint two people. I appointed Matibike, who was then my staff. Matibike was my staff, who was working for me in Champion. So he appointed him. Then he appointed one of my boys, Onogu, who was a member of Federal House, who was in fact living with me at that time. So I appointed him. He was a minister, because I didn't accept, but I nominated two of my boys, and he was kind enough to take them. So Abacha was quite friendly with me. And in fact, this National Hospital, I was one of those who actually conceived it, and I was in the board of National Hospital. It was part of the wife's pet project. It was a woman's hospital which the wife was proposing, and I was a member of the team. So yes, I have a relationship with them. Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you. You said when you started your career, you were working with a company, and suddenly you saw that the engineering profession was very prospective. You started your own company, and you made so much money and diversified into different, areas. Yes. Now, suddenly you also moved into politics. And as you mentioned, you ran for the presidency of Nigeria on 3 occasions. You have also served as a member of the board of PDP. What took you into politics with all your huge resources in other areas of your life?
Yes. Frankly speaking, let me tell you, I never wanted to be in partisan politics at all. What happened, to be honest, is that that was caused by situation at the time. I wanted to be in politics, but not partisan. I was in politics because I was sick. was like a father to me. Zik was a father. Zik was he was our boss in the at the university. No, he was the founding father of our University of Nigeria. And the first time I met Zik was the time I won the Academic Exchange Award, because in my first year, I had I was the first. I won the German Academic Exchange Award, so I think I was the first person to win it that time. So Zik now had a party and invited me. He was very proud of me. So Zik was very. Then from there we established, and I treated him as a father. He was very good. And so even before I joined politics, I told him. Now, why I joined politics was when in 1978, 1979, the military lifted the ban on politics. Then the election, Shagari and Ekweme won the election. That time, I supported Zik. Zik was MPP. And if you collect most of the eastern states, MPP won. So our party then was MPP. I supported Zik naturally. However, in when the military took over in December 2083, military took over government, and then Buhari became the president, and all cultural unions, all those were banned, including Igbo unions like Ohaneze and Igbo and so on. So, and then all the other people, people were banned. Now, so later on, Babangida now lifted ban in politics. And when he lifted ban in politics, he banned most of the top politicians in Igbo land. I think then the top most politician there was Kweme, who was the vice president to Shagari. So they were all banned. So Igbos now looked around and they felt that I was the only person. They felt it would not be possible or fair if there's a presidential contest and we didn't contest. And we were thinking that in view of our contributions to Nigeria, both in getting the independence and also in building Nigeria, that Igbos must be part of the leadership. So they all came to me, and so I came out. That's how I came out. And in fact, Zik gave me a letter. He gave me a letter that I brought to Kaduna to one Dr. Issa Kaita. Issa Kaita was the former Minister of Education. So Issa Kaita introduced me to the Northern political group, and they were very strong. People like Usman Kassina General, Damuchi Roma, many of the top people, all the top positions in the North. So immediately they had, as it brought me, in fact, when we had the election, who becomes the national chairman of the Political Association, all of them unanimously elected me the national chairman. That will show you the type of respect they have for Zik. And because, Zik was even born in Zongleru. So I will credit Zik with the first success I bet. So it's on record that I was the chairman of the first political association that time. Eventually, two political parties, NRC and SDP were set up. So that is actually how I came into politics. And that time, I must tell you frankly, Igbos gave me a lot of support. It was during that period now, I now revived Ohaneze. The Ohaneze Igbo you see today was revived by me during that period. That time, 7 states were fully taking part. River State, Delta, Abia, Imo, Enugu, Anambra, all the states were there. So 7 states. So they were there. And then at the point, they came and honored me with the title Ohaneze Ndigo. I mean, Ahija Gamba Ndigo. You notice that in Igbo land, I am called Ahija Gamba. That is a title given to me by the 7 states of the traditional ruler for 7 states in Igbo land. The chairman of Council of Traditional Rulers in River State, the Igbo person, or as a Woluchem, signed, was the signatory. In the Delta, Asaba signed, and in other 5 states, all of them signed the title that gave me this. That will show you, you see the type of support they gave me. But they made it clear to me that the title Ahija Gamba was not a hereditary title. That you see, that if I'm not there, my children cannot inherit it. It has to go back to the Igbos, and they will decide who they qualified to have it. So I have told my children clearly that this title, I have other titles, which perhaps they could talk about, but this one, the leadership of Traditional Council said it is not hereditary. So that is actually how I came into politics. And I think generally, I spent a lot of money. Make no mistake about it. Politics is not a tea party. It's once you go, a lot of money goes into it. And I spent a lot of money. But I don't regret it, because when I look at life, if I die, I won't carry money to the grave. Today, I am very highly respected in the North, very highly respected in the West, very highly respected in the East, very highly respected in the South, because politics exposed me. And because in that exposure, they found in me good qualities of leadership. They find in me that I'm credible. Some of them also feel that I'm intelligent. So it is politics that given me. Today, wherever I go, any state I go in Nigeria, people receive me and thank me. And you know, I also established a scholarship program, which actually awarded scholarship to people from all the states of the Federation. In Nigeria today, there is no state you go, you don't get people who are trained by me. In those days, we were awarding scholarship to best students in the universities. I went to America, I saw about 2 professors in Harvard. They said they studied on my scholarship. I have seen so many permanent secretaries, so many top people who say they studied on my scholarship, not from Igbo land, not from, but from Western Nigeria, from North and South. So the truth is that, see, I feel at 80 now, at 80, I feel fulfilled, I feel happy. And that is why I'm appealing to Nigerians that see that we have a lot to get from one united Nigeria. We have a lot to gain from one united Nigeria. I've said it several times. The only thing is, it has to be restructured. Nigeria is a country that has got many ethnic nationalities. This problem was there when our forebears came before independence. We have had McPherson, we have had Littleton. None of them produced a constitution that was satisfactory until every nationality was involved. Then they had the Constitutional Conference, which sat in Nigeria for long, and then sat in UK. And of course, they produced the independent constitution. That independent constitution was a true federal constitution, a federation of nationalities. And we need it to make all of us survive, so that every group, it doesn't matter how small they are, we feel a sense of belonging. Restructuring is important, because where you have a country, some of them are big, like you have the big ones like Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, Igbo. You have those ones. You have also smaller ones. I think every one of them must have the same pride and right as a Nigerian. That is why they must have a federal constitution that will reflect that everyone has a right equal rights, irrespective of the size of his tribe. So I think that is the only thing we require. And time is running out, and I'm appealing to our leaders to do quickly to look at this question of restructuring. It is very important. People have talked about other things like this security. I have said it long ago. I said it, if you remember, over 5 years ago, I in a press conference said that Nigeria has grown very big and complex. Like in America, America has so many layers of security. But in our own case, we cannot have only one layer of security in Abuja and everybody comes to it. No. We need security at Abuja, yes, national security. We need that national defense. Every state should have security. Every local government should have security. So security should not be left to this thing. I've been saying it. And you know, there are other areas that we have problems, but we brush on the carpet. I addressed a press conference many years ago. In fact, that was even the time I was I was chairman of Property Tax Development Council of Nigeria. I said that Nigeria is too big for the power to be handled by a central body. I said they should devolve it. Let the money we are spending on power at national level be shared to the various states. If the money we spend on power is devolved to the states, yes, some states may not be able, but I can tell you, if we have done that 5 years ago, by now, over 80% of Nigeria will be 100% sufficient in power. And without power, you can't have industrialization. Without security, you can't have any growth. So power and this security, these are the two things. And the sooner we address this problem, the better for us. What is arising now, the country cannot handle from Abuja. If, for example, we have a state police, a local government police, when this started in Northeast, it started from a local government. The local government police will fight them. Then they will call for enforcement from other local governments from that state. Eventually, the state will fight. They will be able to overcome them. But if they fail, then they can call federal government. But this one it just came, they started bringing people from Abuja. It's not the correct thing. We have said this several times, and I think these two things are very important, security and power, and they can be solved. They can be solved.
Okay, so, okay, Chief. As we are winding up, let me take you to Imo State.
Yes.
And it's very, I want you to listen attentively. You know, it's in almost all the states in Nigeria, whenever there is a new sheriff in town, there's always a power tussle between the ruling class and the, the political stakeholders in that state. That's if you have a new governor in a state, he always has a lot of battle to contend with the, I can call them what Dr. Chimaroke Nnamani, when he was governor of Enugu State, called godfatherism. And again, but that seems to be different in your own case. You have maintained a strong cordiality with virtually all the governors that have governed Imo State, and by extension, the Southeast. We have never heard that Chief Iwuanyanwu is fighting this governor or this governor is fighting Chief Iwuanyanwu. How have you been able to manage this?
Well, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. My father told me that you have to be honest, you have to be fair, you have to be straight. Now, let me tell you the origin of the problem. Origin of the problem was when I joined politics, when the police started by Babangida. Since the 7 states elected me, my house was the point where all the meetings were held. You may wish to know that most of the top politicians from there, all them passed through me. I was very happy. One of my happiest days, because most of the time I feel I didn't get anything in politics. But the day engineers started the inaugural lecture in my honor in 1976. On that day, 3 Senate presidents were there and they spoke. Every one of them spoke and said, I'm his leader. They started politics through me. Senator Namani, Senator Ayim, Senator Wabara, 3 of them came, they were there to say that the man engineer's honor is our leader. You know, this is the greatest thing a man can get when he's alive. But what happened that day is what happens during funeral. There were many other, they came. All these things were true. My house was the starting point. Most of these political leaders, governors, all of them started from my house. But as time went on, they spread into various political parties. I still, they all went to different political parties. Now, it was difficult for me to tell them, I didn't want to influence somebody. I left everybody the right of choice. You know, some leaders will go and start quarreling with them. You quarrel with them. When they said that they are going somewhere and so on, once they say they're going, okay, you can go. I'm not going with you. For example, until during the last election, I supported PDP. I supported PDP. Hope Uzodinma has been my boy. Hope Uzodinma has been loyal and very faithful to me. Hope Uzodinma has been very faithful to me, even at the time in 2015, he was running with a Meki Hedgehound. In my house at Abuja, I called both of them and he stepped down. Hope is a stubborn person. I'm the only person he could give that respect. So I have a lot of respect for him too, because he respects me. But unfortunately, in 2015, I made it clear to him because I didn't want to deceive him. I told him I cannot support him so that he knows I'm not with him. Because see, I am from Owerri zone. Owerri people felt that we have not held the governorship and they wanted somebody from Owerri zone. So I told him I'm going to support an Owerri person for the governorship. So I didn't support Hope for governorship for 2015. Eventually, Emeka Hedgehound from Owerri won. So, but one thing I like about Hope, 2019, I mean 2019, Emeka Hedgehound won. What I liked about Hope, all through that period, I wasn't supporting him. Hope never for one day abused me. Hope never for one day insulted me. He still was calling me his leader everywhere he went. Hope was always talking about me. He's a very clever person. So when at the end of the day, he won, he was declared by the Supreme Court. Well, the truth about it is, I will be very wicked. I'll be very wicked after the Supreme Court have declared him and then he was sworn in. I'll be very wicked to go and start fighting and say he's not. So I didn't. Obviously, some of this I didn't. So I had to. I'm not a member. I'm not a member of APC. I wasn't a member of APC. I was still in PDP. But Hope is my boy. He's my boy who respects me. He's very faithful to me. So I have fought him, and then he lost. And by his own plan and destiny, he sworn him. So the least I can do, since I'm not there, I didn't give him the position. And this is my approach all the time. Human beings are required to be given some room. Most of these people, I don't ask them for anything because, probably because I was rich before I went into politics. You notice most of them, like the other day, Samuel, somebody told me that Sandadi, a senator, who was a senator, he's my boy. I brought him up from the cradle. I met him. He was a senator. Now he's the chairman, he's the secretary general of PDP. He was at the reception. He praised me so much. I saw. Well, I told them the point is this. You see, I have resigned from PDP because I have retired from politics. Because see, I believe now I'm on the threshold of 80. At 80, there is nothing I want. And besides, my people are in all the parties. So I think I would be better off staying out and then be able to solve the problem of our people. I have found myself in a position where I can solve the problem of Igbos and Southeast. And then besides, Southeast people, again, have given me the honor of being the chairman of Council of Elders of Fnse and Igbo worldwide. I mean, this is a very important position. Fnse and Igbo, as you know, means everybody. I drew the present constitution of Fnse and Igbo was done by, I was the chairman of the committee that drew it. I was the chairman of the committee. If you see the constitution, you see my signature. Fnse and Igbo means that any child born in Igbo land, any child born in Igbo land from the date of birth is a member of Fnse and Igbo. Even our daughters, even if they marry, they are still members of Fnse until they die. It doesn't matter where they're married. Our in-laws, even our daughters who marry people who are not Igbos, their husbands and their children they get in those countries or in those states are still honorary members of Fnse and Igbo. So it's a big responsibility I'm carrying. For example, I have made a release over this invasion of Peter Odili's, Mary Odili's house. Because Mary Odili is a princess, it's an Igbo princess. The father, BSC Zewan, was a lawyer, a very prominent lawyer who retired as a traditional ruler. He's from Imo State, and then we feel sad that I made a release as chairman of the Council of Elders. She is a member, by our constitution, she's a member of Council of Elders. She's a member because wherever she is, she's a member. When you get to that stature of being an elder, you are a member. The only thing is when we do things, we collect some people, we form committees and so on and so forth. But the ultimate power, of course, depends on the executive power of Fnse is on the President General. President General of Fnse and Igbo has executive power. But you see, I just want to let you know that Igbos have put me in a position, and I'm quite pleased, and I'm very grateful. And I believe I have to fight for their rights as much as I can. And the right of all Nigerians, because Nigerians also love me. I have found out that many Nigerians love me. I have so many friends from every part of Nigeria. And of course, my daughter, one of my daughters married in Southwest. In fact, married in Oyo State. And even though they live in London, he lives in London with the husband, but they're married. And the husband is one of my best in-laws. So I'm quite happy with the whole situation in Nigeria. That's why I want us to restructure Nigeria. Let's reduce this acrimony. I want us to find the means of improving all these things. You see, it's not just, we can't fight Nigerian battle only by police and the army. No. That's why I'm saying that at times when things reach a deep position, we have to find a political solution. Because see, if we go it through this military assault, the tension will be much. But if we have a political solution, it makes it very easier. Yes, I'm finished.
Chief.
Yes. Hello.
Okay. Okay, Chief, we are running out of time. I think I have to ask you the final question.
Okay.
So that we can we can go to the free kick segment for the participants to ask 1 or 2 questions before we wrap it up. The question I want to ask you, 2 in 1 question. You have been conferred with 3 national honors: member of the Federal Republic, officer of the Federal Republic, and commander of the Federal Republic. I think I can't remember any Nigerian who has been conferred with 3 national honors. You also have been conferred with 6 doctorate degrees by more than 6 top universities in Nigeria and outside the country.
Yes.
How do you feel about these honors? Are they your greatest achievements? And on a final note, you will be turning 80. You have mentioned this several times here. Next year, by the special grace of God, I was present when you turned 75 at the event held in your honor at the International Conference Center. What is your prayer for Nigeria as you turn 80 next year, and your wish for Nigeria? You begin with the first question.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with the question of I've got 3 national honors. As honors, I haven't seen any Nigerian, to be honest with you. And then since I feel grateful to Nigeria, I feel grateful to my colleagues. I feel very happy about it. And of course, I have got, you see, you have doctorate degree, you have other degrees, but you know, if I get a PhD or a doctorate degree in science, you see, you are not going into the world to work. The honorary degree is the one that I've seen, because somebody can get a doctorate degree and become a failure in life. If I can be selected by more than 6 or 7 or 8 universities all over the world to be given honorary doctorate degree, as a degree that is based on my performance, because so I feel happy. I feel completely fulfilled. I'm very, very grateful. Now, my birthday, yes, thank you very much. I recollect you were there. Thank you very much. That birthday was organized by my colleagues in Southeast, political people in Southeast. The next year, I look forward to the 80th birthday. That one, I think, will be organized by our people too. Many of my boys and those who pass through me have said they're going to organize it. So I think they will organize it, but it will be in a worry. To be in a worry, and it will be a very good opportunity. I built a cathedral, you know, in my town. The diocese, the Cathedral Diocese of Anglican Church. My parents were leaders in Anglican Church, so I built a cathedral. That cathedral cost me over 1 billion naira. It has 10,000 seaters, so it's one of the biggest cathedrals east of the Niger, and one of the biggest. And then, so I will probably on that occasion be able to have an event in that cathedral where my friends from outside will be there in my home. So the birthday will be celebrated in Imo State. I look forward to it. I am very grateful to my friends. I'm very grateful to all of you. You have been wonderful to me. So thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Engineer Chief Emmanuel Chuwuemeka Iwuanyanwu, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Member of the Federal Republic, Officer of the Federal Republic, and Commander of the Federal Republic, for being our guest for the 3rd edition of Inside the Arena. We thank you for providing answers to many of our questions. We are going to be going straight to the free kick segment of this program, where we open the room for our participants, other participants, to ask you 1 or 2 questions. You will respond to the questions, and we have a rule. The host has the right to flag any question as offside, and any question he flags as offside, the host will be exempted from answering the question. So that is where we are now. So if you are if you want to ask a question, you raise your hand. We are going to ask you to unmute your mic, and then you ask your question to Chief Iwuanyanwu. Questions? Anybody that has question, if you have question, you raise your hand, then we unmute you. Okay, Camila Maliki. Engineer Camila Maliki, please can you unmute your mic and ask your question? Engineer Camila Maliki.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, the moderator, and I want to also appreciate the host.
Okay.
And my question is, I didn't hear any question that has to do with the relationship between the host and Nigerian Society of Engineers and Koren.
Okay. Well, I'm a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers. I've been a registered member of Koren from the beginning. I am one of those who fought for the legal battle to get Koren. I'm one of those. I'm one of the engineers who fought for it. And it's part of our battle to give engineers relevance and recognition. So I am part of it. I've been there. I think I'm probably one of the oldest fellows of the society still alive. I can't remember all those who were fellows with me. I think most of them are virtually all dead. I think I'm perhaps the oldest fellow alive. I may look young, but see, I'm just about 80, but because I got my fellowship very early, I got my fellow very early in the profession. So that is probably why I may be looking young, and then I'm one of the oldest fellows. Thank you. You have any other question? I don't know.
Okay, we have engineer TSG Wudil.
Yes,
after engineer Wudil, we take engineer Adendo.
I know Wudil. Wudil, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir?
I know Wudil. Yes, how are you, Wudil?
I'm fine, sir. In fact,
Okay,
Camila has asked my question, and and just an addendum to the question. What is your assessment of the performance of Nigerian Society of Engineers in professionalism over these years you have been a member?
Now, you see, we in our early days, we were like pioneers. We fought to make engineers relevant. We fought at a point, and government was making the minister of works and engineer. I think later on we lost a lot. We lost a lot of grounds. We have done well. We have done well, but I think really that when some of us who were the pioneers, who fought the battle in those days, are still alive, and when people like us still relevant in politics, I think I can knock on the door of all the politicians and they will open. So I think, you see, I'm going to work with the next. I cannot be an officer post now, but I will support them. I work with them to restore the dignity of engineers, to make sure that engineers are brought back to what they should be, to make sure that the nation will benefit maximally, optimally, when an engineer is put in charge of ministries that are engineering. Because if you look at the budget, over 40% of the revenue is spent on engineering projects. And because if they're not properly managed, supervised, the Nigeria will lose. And then, of course, the future of the young engineers. I don't want to hear that an engineer is just going around looking for any type of job. Some of them, even if you give them teaching in secondary school, they go. So we have to restore the dignity of engineers. We have to sit down and talk about it. So I'm going to talk about that's what I said that.
Thank you very much, sir. You have a partner in me and the Nigerian Society of Engineers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We take Frank Adendo, and then we take Engineer Mensa Ame, and finally we take Engineer OAU Uche. Engineer Frank Adendo.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
We can hear you.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Okay. I want to begin by expressing gratitude for spending this time with us, for the words of wisdom, for just speaking with us, and also to commend the convener, Engineer Benusi Oko, for this opportunity, this platform. Coincidentally, some of the questions that I wanted to ask, have already been addressed by some of the people that asked their questions before me. But in following the line of restoring the dignity of engineers, what, in your opinion, would you say was, the most the principal thing that you applied that made you the success that you are today? Because a lot of us engineers, we work in offices where engineers are at the background, and the people who are supposed to be support staff, they are more celebrated, than the engineers. In my office, for instance, you have a legal person, or you have an executive director, human resources, but we don't have an executive director, engineering, for instance. So what would you say was the one thing that you kept applying and kept, as a guiding principle that made your career a success, that made you the success that you are today?
Used to call me, okay? 0818-4270-287 and 0818-4270-265. 0818-4270-287.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes. Have you finished?
Yes, sir. I have.
Well,
Hello, Chief. Can you?
Listen.
Yes.
You are confirming what my concern, that engineers are not optimally playing their role. I mean, you see, in this world, if you don't say I am, nobody will say you are. If you don't actually tell people what you can do, people will just ignore you. World is a race, a battle. Everybody wants to get to the pinnacle. So if an engineer is docile and somebody is there, we are senior engineers, we are there. If there are places where you cannot reach, we can reach them. If somebody is undermining you, because we have to make engineers know that we are bound by a profession. Look at what happens in legal profession, for example. Once any lawyer or a judge suffers injustice, everybody will rise. I think even in medical field and other things. But you see, engineers do a lot of work, carry a lot of responsibilities. So I think really we are the people to start solving the problem at times. If we are not, they create a structure. You see, in your own case now, you are in a structure which you don't control, a structure that has already brought a dignity of an engineer down. That is why I believe that a committee has to be set up. I will insist in the convention that the committee be set up to review the position, the supporting in all parts of our in the whole environment of Nigerian business and industry, everything, so that we will have areas where we need to do some work. So you have mentioned what you said is a typically what happened there. And when they do this, they degrade you, they dehumanize you, they make you lose the pride you should have as an engineer. You should be very proud as an engineer. because it takes time to qualify as an engineer. It takes intellect, it takes resourcefulness, it takes hard work. So we're going to restore that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very
much.
much, Chief. We take the last two people I mentioned, Engineer Messiah Ame. Quickly, please, can you make it just 20 seconds? And after him, we take Engineer Professor OAU Uche. I'm seeing the last person, Engineer Keyus. We'll take that as the last. Please, 20 seconds so that we can wrap up the questions.
Okay, thank you so much for the platform. Thank you so much to our father for this opportunity. My question is quite fast. I am the coordinator of Young Engineers NSE Ikeja branch. And from all our daddy has said here, I'm really pleased for all the plans and all he has said about young engineers. My question is straight and simple. Please, what advice do you have for young engineers, and what do you think we as young engineers can do differently to make our future brighter and better as engineers practicing in Nigeria? Thank you, sir.
Now,
okay, I think we are going to take, Chief, I think we are going to take the questions, all the questions, so that you can respond to them at once.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Professor Uche. Engineer Professor Uche.
Thank you, the convener. I want to use this opportunity to really appreciate our daddy, the Aheje Agamba one of the land. I want to use this opportunity to tell him that I was one of the people that drank from milk of his human kindness. As a young engineer, I worked in Central newspapers sometime in 1990, 91, and he gave me room to come to the north. And having come to the north, I was able to pursue additional education. And today, I'm a professor of civil engineering. So I want to use this opportunity to thank you for providing the pedestal with which I mounted to become what I am today. I have not had an opportunity of talking to him one-on-one, but this evening, I want to say that you have done nothing to Igbo land and Nigeria as a whole. May God continue to bless
Professor. Thank you.
That you have touched.
Thank you. We take
that concerns you. May your life continue to be a good example to entire Nigerians and engineers as a profession.
Thank
I
you very
want
much.
to really ask that I have heard you about one of your boys being the governor of Imo State. I am praying that you use that opportunity to see that he is rightly advised concerning the insecurity we are having in the past. It's really eating up most of us and creating a lot of imbalance in Nigeria. As much as possible, we'll be very happy if there's a peaceful resolution of what is happening in Igbo land, and that as you are a man of peace, I know you, I followed you from secondary school to university level, that you can achieve this for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I think we've passed 20 seconds. We take the last. We take Engineer Keyus to make it COB.
Okay, thank you, sir. I want to appreciate this opportunity to hear you this evening, sir. Sir, as an engineer, a very advanced engineer, you spoke passionately about restructuring Nigeria. Restructuring has become a political word, but I am thinking this evening, we want to hear from you. Does engineers, how will this restructuring affect us as engineers? And what role can engineers contribute to effective restructuring of this country? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can I make a response? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Well, am I to continue?
Yes, sir. Go on, sir.
So can I respond? And I think it's the final response.
Yes, it seems Ben Ossi is out. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, I want also to say I'm grateful to all of you for the opportunity. For me, it's always a joy to talk to engineers. It puts me in mind when I talk. I remember days in classroom. But mark you, our days were slide rule days. Your own days were computer days. You know, we use slide rule, you use computer. So it's a very, very, very wonderful thing to be an engineer, really. The young man asked me, what do I expect of a young engineer? I expect a young engineer to be somebody who knows that an engineer is a man carrying heavy responsibility on behalf of his people. He's a man who carries out a design of a structure, whether building or roads. And the success of that, which will bring joy and happiness to people, depends on him. The engineer is carrying responsibility. Like if an engineer designs a building and it collapses, at the end of the day, architects will escape because they will say they only designed the static area. The whole victim will be the structural engineer or the person who did the foundation. You know, this is the point. So you have to know that from the beginning of your career, you are saddled with a lot of responsibility. You have a moral duty to your people. So when you do that, you have to take responsibility for your action. An engineer must be like a student. You know, the engineering profession is dynamic. It's changing every day. I read a lot of, I get a lot of engineering journals and I read them. So an engineer must follow up discoveries, advances in other parts of the world. A young engineer must actually carry himself with dignity wherever he goes, the way he talks, the way he speaks. Because if he does anything wrong, they will say engineer ABC also did it. An engineer is there. So the other point we must have is there is the question of many quacks answering engineer. The law which we fought for to get the title engineer made it clear who has the right to put the title engineer after his name. I think we must devise a means of stopping everybody, all the facts. Everybody now says he's an engineer. Even those who didn't go to any engineering school and so on. So a young engineer must be very proud of the profession, must work to defend the profession, must be very diligent, make sure that, know that anything he does will not just be blamed on him, but blamed on engineers. So he's not just alone, he's going to be answerable and others will be answerable. So I believe that once you have this consciousness and know that you have a very proud profession, because from the time God created man, the only legacy or the only inheritance God gave us was the world. He said, go and overcome the world. Go and overcome. If you're a Christian and you read Genesis, that instruction is from God himself. If you read Genesis, I think it's somewhere, I think chapter 6 or somewhere. When the first day I went to my hydraulics class, the first thing the professor told us is the Noah's Ark. He says his job is easy. Go and take the measurement of Noah's Ark. Any structure divine in that structure will float. So God is an engineer himself. So I think if you know that it's a very high-low profession, and we should be able to live up to that expectation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. I think we have gone far beyond our time, and we are going to be wrapping it up here. But before we go to the extra time segment where somebody will be going home with this beautiful laptop in my hand, a brand new laptop, let me quickly, I noticed we have many of our respected engineers who have joined us for this event. I'm surprised that our target for these prizes are the young engineers. And each time we have this program, we post to the Young Engineers Forum. But it seems they are very busy. They don't participate in this. And the people who have been winning these prizes have been the elderly one. I hope a young engineer will be lucky to win today. Let me in a special way acknowledge let me acknowledge the presence of the president of Koren, Engineer A.A. Rabiu. He has joined, he has been with us since, and he was the first person to be inside the arena. And today he's watching us from outside the arena. We have Engineer TSG Wudil, Deputy President of NSC, Engineer CC Kachi, Engineer Nkechi Isigwe, Engineer Felix Atume, Engineer Camila Wopa, Engineer Felix Ibitoye, Engineer Mayen Adetiba is also with us, Engineer Osuala, Engineer Sioko, Engineer Dr. Wesin, Engineer Debajo, and Engineer Mekara, and the host of other many of our senior engineers who have joined us. On that note, I wish to take us to the next segment of this program, which is the extra time. The extra time is the time we ask questions, and the first person to send in the correct answer through the chat box, we automatically become the winner of this beautiful computer. You know, and when I was starting, all the things we have mentioned about Engineer Iwuanyanwu was centered not just on civil engineering, but on that beautiful club he managed, the Iwuanyanwu National, called the Naze Billionaire. And our question is going to be coming from that. I did mention that Iwuanyanwu National, under his management, won the league trophy on how many occasions? How many times did they win the league trophy? And when was the first time they won it? How many times they won it? And the first year they won it? That is the question. You tell us how many times first, then the first year they won it. The first person to post in the correct answer in the chat box automatically becomes the winner. Nobody will post 3 times or 2 times. The first person to post and the year will automatically win. I think let's go around the question and they pick the correct answer. I think I have seen a winner, and Chief has to confirm that also. Iwuanyanwu, what's the name is called? Iwuanyanwu what? Onyekwe, 5 occasions, and the 1987, I think she is the first correct answer. Somebody posted first 4 times, yes. 1987, but that person is not. This is 5 times, 5 occasions she wrote, and 1987. Iwuanyanwu National won the league 1987, 1988, 1989, and the 1990 plus 1993. Chief, please can you confirm if the answer is correct?
Yes, the answer is correct.
Chief, sir, please can you confirm if that is correct so that we know?
Yes, it's correct. It's correct.
Okay, fantastic. So the winner for today's this edition of Inside the Arena is please can you unmute yourself and let's see your face. And okay, I can see Iwuanyanwu Onyekwelu.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Iwuanyanwu Onyekwelu. Let's see your face, please. Let's know you.
Can
I see you?
I'm sorry, you can't see me now.
Have you unmuted your?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm trying to find their video. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I think please show us your face. Your video is still
Okay.
okay.
Is she an engineer? Is she an engineer?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's confirm she's an engineer.
Let's see her face.
I'm an engineer.
Tell us about yourself.
Electronics engineer.
Eh?
Okay, my name is Iwuanyanwu, and I'm a broadcast engineer with the Nigerian Television Authority.
Thank you very much. I think I know the face. I know the face.
Sir.
So, Iwuanya,
Yes,
on
sir.
behalf of our guest, Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, who is the sponsor of this gift, we want to officially present this beautiful laptop to you as the winner of this edition of Inside the Arena. The laptop, you can pick it up on Monday. You can call me to pick it up at my office, and I will send you the address. You pick it up. Congratulations to you. And we say a very big thank you to all the participants for today's program. And on that note, we have come to the very end of this edition. And we say once again, a very big thank you to Engineer Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu for being part of this. Thank you very much, sir. And may God bless all of you. Okay, Chief.
I'm right.
Chief, I think the president of Koren has requested that we should be giving 1 minute to say hello to you. Okay, so, Mr. President, sir.
Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate you, sir. We have benefited a lot from this outing. I happen to be the first guest inside the arena, but today I comfortably watched from outside the arena. The other day, Ben visited you. I was with him, but he just left quietly without telling me. I would have joined him. So maybe on Monday, sir, if you are still in Abuja, I'll find time to come around. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And Rabiu, please. You know, I'm writing a letter. The lecture series is holding on 2nd of December, and we're expecting you with the president of Nigeria Society of Engineers. You know where. I want to know your aide who come with you so we can arrange the tickets. Send the tickets and also the hotel accommodation. It's on 2nd of December, please.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
When?
Okay. Okay, Baba.
No, the branch cannot.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And have a very wonderful weekend. On that note, we have come to the end of the 3rd edition of Inside the Arena. We will see all of you outside the arena. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish you a happy weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Happy weekend.
Thank you, sir.